Happy Monday morning, everyone. This is Stacy Turner with our DMOpro Zoom. I'm so glad that you're joining us today. Yesterday, I was in church, and something that the pastor said reminded me of a story from when I was little. And I don't always know what I'm going to be speaking on Monday mornings, but something typically comes up, a discussion I'm having with a team member, something personal, a book that I'm reading, and this memory came up. And so I just started thinking about it, and then it had so many areas of application to what we do with our business and our own personal growth that I was like, okay, this is what I'm going to talk about. So I was taking notes on my thoughts right before we, got started. It was like something in the announcement. So I always love when this is like God inspired information or just God triggered, I will say. So okay, when I was little, I had a best friend, and I was right in age between her and her older sister. And so I was good friends with both of them. And one summer, their family invited me to go up to the mountains with them and go camping, but we were in a cabin. I don't even know where we were at, but there was a river that we would walk to. And it was cold water, because I do remember it was midsummer, but it was still pretty chilly of water. So it was in Colorado, and it was gorgeous. The water wasn't like super swift, but it was a river. And we were told you can, play by the edge, but you need to stay close to the shore. And there was some parts that had like a sandy bank that we could kind of go out in and wade maybe up to our, maybe midway to our knees, and we could just play in that water. It was a safe place. We were fishing and just having a great time. As long as we stayed close to the shore, we didn't have to put on life jackets. I was probably about 9, I would guess, somewhere around in that age group. And we just had a blast. We were enjoying just being outside, and it was just beautiful. I just remember it was so peaceful hearing the water. Well, after a while, we kind of got bored, being by the edge and just staying close to shore. So we wanted to, adventure out a bit and go a bit further. And so we started kind of going a little bit further into the water, because you could see that there were some rapids, and we were throwing like a leaf in there or something where you could see it would kind of swirl around and go down the water. We would put one of us up shore and one down shore, and we were sending things down to the other one, and we just wanted to play more. We kind of got bored with where we're at. Well, we could see that the water in the middle was moving, and it was sort of a challenge to see how far we could get out and then come back in. So the parents definitely spoke to us about the dangers of, river water and swift currents, and how it can look sort of peaceful on the top, but underneath it can be dangerous. And then how there were rocks down further that could also be a danger, and how the water can take you to that. And so they told us about those challenges, but it looked exciting and more fun out in the middle, right? And just way more promising of things that we could do out there. And so we kind of kept venturing out. And so I think their dad realized, you know what, I better do something and teach them how to navigate this safely. And so he said that there was a way across, because there was something on the other side. I think it was some logs that we wanted to play on. And he said there was a way across that was safe, and that he would teach us how to navigate the water, where to see if it was more swift, and where the rocks were. He would show us, if there were any undercurrents. And so he went across, and he showed us that you could get across, and we were like, you can get across that water. And so then we wanted to do it. So he first we watched him walk across, and then he walked one of us with a life jacket across the water, and we saw our friend get to the other side. And then they came back, and then I think it was the older sister, she went across by herself. He was in the water, but she went across by herself. And then she came back and we were cheering her from the side. And we were like, oh my gosh, look, she got all the way across there. So then it was my turn and I went across. And then it was my friend's turn, the younger sister. And she was not having it. Like she wanted to go on the other side with us. I think her sister and I were on the other side and we were calling to her, come on, Robbie, come on. Like you can do it. And she would get out and then she would get scared and she would go back to the edge again. And then she would venture out a little bit deeper and we were calling to her. And finally she got brave enough. And with her dad's help, she made it over and we were all celebrating. We were pretty excited about it. And then he started letting us do it without life jackets. Like if we just fell in, could we do it without a life jacket? And so it must not have been like that rapid of waters, in my head. I'm thinking as a kid, I remember if I saw it as an adult, I'd probably like, oh my gosh, that's like a stream. It's not that big of a deal. But as a kid, it was like the river, we were in this river rapids. And so we started to where we could go without a life jacket and we could just play more freely. And we got way more confident with the water. And we had so much more fun. There was just more options out in the middle or even on the other side. And we weren't tied to just the side, from one spot. And so I just was thinking about that. And it showed like there were just some things that I thought this really does correlate to our business because it's kind of an odd memory to just come up on a Sunday morning, right? In that much detail. But I thought it really does connect well with our business. So think about if we stay close to the shore in our business and we want to play it safe and we're watching other people do business and we're watching other people progress in the marketing plan, or it just looks like they're enjoying themselves, but we're staying close to the shore. It's safer here, it's more secure, and it's easier just to kind of watch than to participate. And that's at first that may be okay, right? But eventually it kind of gets bored. And so I want to ask you, are you sort of bored in your business? And I've heard this before from people, and I have felt it myself. Like I'm just kind of staying stagnant. I'm not really seeing progression. Like I just kind of feel like it's the mundane over and over again. It's just sort of kind of boring. But I want to do more and I can see others are doing more, but I'm just not sure about venturing forward. I'm not sure about what it's going to take to go to the middle or even to the other side. I know there's other people that have gotten to national marketing director or to sales coordinator, QSC, whatever that next position was. But like, I wasn't so sure about that. And so, thinking about, we could see as kids, it was more adventurous in the middle. There was more to do outside than what we were just doing on the shore. It took their dad to show us the way. And he breathed vision in our life and told us, you can get to the other shore and I'm going to show you, I'm going to walk you through it. I'm going to go to the other side with you. And then he taught us to do it ourselves with support, and then how to do it ourselves without his support. And as we did the activity of going out into the middle, our confidence was built. And I really just want to encourage you to think about your business the same way. One, from the perspective of a follower or a newer team member, and then two, from the perspective as a leader. And we're going to focus more as the perspective of a leader. I feel like this is a leadership, is where I want to try to go more with you guys in the leadership mindset versus just, starting out. So I think you can figure out the analogy as just starting out. So let's think about as a leader. So we have team members that like to stay close to the shore because it's safer there. They're not doing their own events. They watch us do events. They come to our events that we be doing. And that's key too. We need to be doing the events ourselves, right? Like we're showing the way. The dad, he showed us what was possible by what he was doing himself. He walked across, that river, and he showed us the path there. And so the people that we're leading, the people that are on our team, the people that are going to be on our team are going to do what we do And really, I've heard they will do half of what we do. I don't know if you guys have ever heard that. And then their team does half of what they do. So until they're really engaged and leading a team of people. So if I'm going to be their leader and they're going to do what I do, ask yourself, would you follow you? What if you were your sponsor? If you were your sponsor and you were looking up to you for direction, would you have a clear path to go? Would you understand what to do? Would you feel confident reaching out to yourself? I know that's kind of a weird analogy, but like, would you know or think, okay, she knows what she's doing because she's doing it. I can see what she's doing. I can follow him because he's leading the path. And there's times where I would ask myself that question and the answer was no. Like, I would not want them to follow me because I wasn't plugged in. I wasn't on calls. I wasn't doing events. I wasn't following up well with people. I wasn't doing great customer care. Like I could answer all the DMO questions. Was I involved in personal development? Was I reading anything? No. Was I doing events? Did I have any events that I was doing myself, or was I just inviting to other people's? What was my level of customer care? Was I talking to them? Was I letting them know their boxes are shipping? What about follow-up? Was I letting people, fall through the crack to where I didn't have any sort of system where I was writing people's names down and I just would start the conversation, but never follow through and never guide them to the point of next step thinking of education and overcoming objections and helping them get started, asking them if they would like to get started. I was having conversations with people, but no real follow-up. I wasn't doing three-way calls. I wasn't really connected with my team. I was just kind of maybe in a funk or just kind of staying close to the shore and just watching the water go by. So in those times I would say, no, I wouldn't follow me. Now, sometimes those were areas of life that like I just couldn't do more than I could do. Maybe it was times where I was on bed rest with our third child, even though I still, I was still active then, but maybe activity was less, just in survival mode from different things, or right when we were moving across country, or I don't know, I'm just trying to think of different times maybe in life, but or in this 20-year journey that I've done. There were times where I was like, no, I wouldn't follow me. Sometimes it was just because of my poor attitude, like just my stinking thinking, what was going through my head, personal growth and development that I knew I needed to move through, but I was resisting or fighting that and not getting outside help like I needed. I would say even probably last November, December, January, I was in that spot. I've shared that with you guys before. Like I was just sort of in a funk that I couldn't get out of. And I reached out to my mother-in-law, who's an excellent trauma coach. And it was past what I could just like pull yourself together. Like, come on, pump me up and let's go. I just knew there was something holding me back and I couldn't put my finger on it. And she is excellent at that. If you guys want her information, she does Zoom calls, and I'm going to be doing some training with her in September to learn how she does what she does. And she's incredible. So maybe that's something I can bring to you guys as well. But I just knew I needed some help. And so on the personal development side, sometimes it was just my mindset that I just wasn't there. I wasn't showing up as my best self. And I knew I needed somebody's extra guidance to help walk me through that. A lot of times it was my activity. I just wasn't doing the activity that I knew to do. I mean, we know there's a system, there's a guy. I mean, that's why we have a franchise, right? Like DMO is the system. It's been for 20 years. Whether you're doing it online with people, you're starting conversations online, you're putting content online, it still is some sort of method that you're following each day. And then sometimes it's just I wasn't out in the community enough. I wasn't finding new people to share with. And those conversations weren't happening to where I could have follow-up. I was just kind of following up with the same people, and I was kind of bored with that. And so, just thinking, would you follow yourself? Why or why not? But there was something that happened when we as kids went to the middle of the water. When we went into the challenge of those rapids, that's where our skill set grew. We could swim in a river without a life jacket. That was kind of like big stuff, right? Like we could tell our friends, oh yeah, look, listen to what I did, last week. We got to swim in the river and I didn't have to have a life jacket on. And so we built confidence. through that. That was a mindset shift that happened with us that day. We got a little bit more mature because we did something hard. It was in the challenge of the water in the middle that we grew. It wasn't the comfort and the safety of the shore. And so I just want to encourage you guys, step away from the shore. What's the shore you're holding on to that you feel like that's what's keeping you safe, secure? Maybe it's just even the idea of a job, the safety of a job, and I'm not saying go quit your job, but that's where, I'll just kind of do this on the side sometimes because I have the safety of this job. Just like this gal shared with us, you can be let go of that job. Somebody else has that decision. Somebody else that makes that decision and can take you out of that. Things can happen in our life totally outside of our control that we think is security, right? That we think is the shore, and it's somebody else's shore. It's somebody else's decision if you get to stay there or not. It's in the challenge of the river. It's in the challenge of the daily activity. It's in the challenge of doing that you're going to grow. It's not on the shore. We had fun on the shore, but we didn't experience the river like we did moving into the middle. And I just want to call you guys away from the shore into the middle with the rest of us that are really in this, that are growing, that are doing events. This is where impact is. It's not just the fun of it, okay? Because business isn't always fun. It's not fun when somebody tells you no. It's not fun when a customer cancels. It's not fun if a team member is not returning your calls. But there's something more than in the challenge than just the fun of it, the emotion of it. It's like the heart of the impact of what we're doing. And you guys are doing good work. This is good work. What you're putting your time into is investing in people. It's the only thing that lasts eternally is people. Have you ever thought of that? That's the only thing eternal that lasts is people and souls and relationships and connections that we have here on earth, that we get to impact that in such a big, bold, beautiful way. There's just nothing better than that. And so what you guys are doing, it matters. It absolutely matters. And I just want to encourage you, come away from the shore, come out into the water, come into the rapids with us. Let's build some confidence. Let's build a stronger mindset. And that is in the doing. It's not in getting on this call. Like, I hope that I can encourage you guys and equip you and empower you, but it's in the doing that you're going to learn. It just is. You learn, oh, that didn't work so well. I probably shouldn't have said that. Or is there a different way I could have said that? Or that event way I invited didn't go as well as I had hoped, or just whatever. It's just in the thick of it. It's in those rapids that you're really going to learn the most. So I would love to hear from you guys. What has been a challenge in your business that you can point and look back to that you're like, that challenge, that rapid, that swift current is really where I grew. I learned this from that, or I walk away from that with this stronger skill set because I went through it. Is there something that comes to your mind? I would love to hear from you guys.
I have something.
Okay, please share with us, Chris.
For 6 years, I was stuck at sales coordinator. Even though I continually did the work, I was really committed to this because I was called to it. And I knew it was my mindset. So I said affirmations. I did personal development. I took seminars. I did all this stuff to help me. And I could never get enough, so that it wasn't so customers not coming and going, team not coming and going. I wasn't getting the traction. And someone shared this with me, and this really changed my business and changed my life. It was a Bible verse. It says, if we speak the word, if we meditate day and night, we obey the word, we make our way successful and prosperous. It's Joshua 1:8. So I decided I could do that. And I started meditating or saying the word of God day and night. And that started making huge changes in my business because my mind started thinking prosperous instead of poverty, blessing, not scarcity, abundance, all these changes. And I started believing God for more and more. And so now I find if I kind of get stuck again, or I'm in a funk that day, or I'm having a hard time, or maybe something's happening that I can't actually work on my business, I can always work on my mind. I can always move my mind forward by saying verses on prosperity. So that's what's really, really made a big difference for me.
Excellent example, Chris. What we say in our head is going to affect our face as we're meeting people. It's going to affect what we hear in conversations. We won't pick up on it. Subconsciously, we've already shut down, and our subconscious is going to keep us on the shore. It's going to keep us safe. This doesn't work anyway. What's the point? Let's just stay back here. It's going to affect the words, the tone of voice, like your approach to people. Like, you attract who you are. It really is true. And I could see that, Chris, with myself last, at the beginning of this year. Like, I wasn't attracting who I wanted to. I was attracting negative conversations. I was drawn to those. And I was just like, who is it? Like, that's not me. And I knew that. And so it's so true. Like, just that affirmation and meditating on God's word. What a powerful, he gave us that gift, that we have his word to guide us and direct us. And such a beautiful example. Thank you, Chris, for sharing that with us. Who else has something?
I would say fear.
Okay, tell us more about that.
Just fear of not really knowing how to combat a negative. Fear that they might judge you as salesy or preachy. Yeah, that's basically.
So I would say, like, overcoming fear, part of it is, what are you saying to yourself? To building confidence through the support of your sponsor. Your sponsor's belief is stronger. So tap into them, pull them into the conversations where you're just sort of not sure what to say. And I remember when I first started, the conversation just maybe wasn't going the direction I wanted it to. I knew how to answer the question, but I just wasn't sure how to direct the conversation. So I would say, they would ask a question. Even if I knew the answer, I would say, that's a great question. I'm really not sure. I'm sort of new at this. I want to get you the best answer. Can I get Sharon on the phone with us? She's been doing this longer, and I would like to hear what she says with that. And they would always say yes, right? Because I wasn't saying, let me get my sponsor on the phone. Like, don't say the word sponsor. It's just your friend who's been doing this longer than you have, and you would like to get them the best answer. And then Sharon was able to answer the question and kind of knew how to direct the conversation in a way I just didn't have the skill set to do. And so bringing people to your sponsor with a three-way conversation. And if you're not comfortable doing that with your direct sponsor, then keep going up, find your national marketing director. They're getting paid on the activity that you do. Put them to work. We would all love to help and support anyone on our team that says, hey, will you do a three-way call with me? The answer is yes. And there's somebody, I promise you, above you that will help you with that. But that can be a big belief builder. And I saw somebody put some information there in the chat. Fear is really stay close to the shore. Don't go in the water. You don't have the skill set. You're not good enough. You're not a great swimmer. You've never done that before. Safe people stay close to the shore. Out there is adventurous. That's not who we are. Just be careful of who you're listening to. We can be our biggest critic or our biggest cheerleader. I always just feel like chaos is not from God. If thoughts are causing chaos in my head, I recognize, wait, it's not a positive place. That's not from a positive influence. That is something that needs to be tossed aside. It's just the thought. I don't have to give it space. I don't have to let it sit, and I don't have to think about it. It was a thought. I can let it go by and focus on something else. Miss Deborah, you have your hand up. What would you like to share with us?
Well, one thing that came up to me just now is the word grace. Like, I grant myself grace when I catch myself. I'm pretty self-aware, and I know often when I'm in a place of sliding away from the activity that I know that there is to do. So granting myself the grace to be human, like embracing my humanity, and not, because if I like batter myself emotionally, I will disappear. I will pull back. I will be embarrassed. And so I keep stepping forward, granting myself the grace to make mistakes, learning from my mistakes. And I've been a sales qualified, I've been a QSC for 9 years. And I'm really ready and allowing myself to make a lot of mistakes moving forward and creating a team. And I hadn't done that before because I was, just continually pulling back. So now I'm stepping forward, not stopping, and granting myself grace if I make a mistake.
That's
And getting
so
into
good.
communication with my upline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Why do we expect, like, we don't expect others to be perfect. So why do we do that to ourselves? We're so harsh on ourselves sometimes. Erin says in the chat, courage is not the absence of fear. It's doing the things fearful, even if you're afraid, like just do them. And that's so true. It's so true. So thank you, Erin. That's a great one. Lisa, would you like to share?
Yeah, I was just going to say a couple quick things. One of the things I heard, and I think her name was Paula Ladino. She said yesterday, I was listening to her, and she said, growth happens from taking action, not accidentally. And a couple other things, because she was just talking about confidence. I found, and I think Deborah just mentioned this, is just stop. My dad was a perfectionist, and my son and myself are what's the word? Anyway, we're not perfectionists anymore, but kind of like an alcoholic. Always working on that. But confidence just, I'm finding, comes from stop trying to do everything perfectly. Just do it, and as you do it, you fix it. I mean, it's like what you tell your kid. You didn't push your kid down when he didn't walk perfectly the first time. He gets back up, and like you said already, we would be so mad at someone for mistreating somebody else, but we mistreat ourselves all the time. And that's one of the things I'm really overcoming, is just do it. And the more I do it, or do a power hour, even if it's on my own, it's that action that makes me better and gives me more confidence. And it helps my conviction to be more prominent. And so I think for me, those were the things that help. Stop being a perfectionist, just do it. And as someone already said, love yourself, give yourself some grace.
Absolutely. What about even just giving ourselves permission to get to the other side? There can be a holding back of our own because that's not what our people do. That's not the kind of person our family is. That's, we don't do that type of business. We go to our family goes to college. They don't start their own business. I'm just kind of thinking some things out loud that might be coming, from outside influences, but can you give yourself permission to get the other side? Like, can you dream of the other side? Can you dream about the impact in the middle? Can you envision that and then see the other side? Do you want to get over there, or are you not even wanting to get there? I've heard people say, I don't want to be a national marketing director. And I'm like, why? And they have this perceived notion of this huge responsibility that NMD, and like I could never do what that is. And I just want to squash that, because when you get to national marketing director, you have earned that through activity. You don't just get promoted to the position of national marketing director because you have stayed in the business long enough, right? There are some leadership positions that in a typical job that you can get promoted because of tenure. You've been there long enough, or the person above you quit or left, and like you were the next person to move up in line. That's not the way it works with this business. You've got to build the skill set to be able to get there by leading and guiding other people. Can you teach other people well? I mean, this is a teaching business. Can you teach yourself? Can you learn from other teachers? And then can you teach others to do the same thing? Teach them to do an event, teach them how to invite to event, teach them how to have a conversation, teach them how to overcome objections. Do you know how to do those things? If not, check into boards. Boards has all the answers to those things. All the teaching material is there. You can learn it, but you really learn it from doing. You've got to do the activity. And I just, again, give yourself permission. Start dreaming. If you think I could never be an NMD, I promise you're never going to get there. You will self-fulfill that. Your brain will stop you every time, and it's not going to happen. What if you started embracing that, like Chris said? What if you started saying positive things about National Marketing Director? What are some positive things about that? National Marketing Director, the impact that you have had, at that position, the measurable impact that you would have just from pure numbers of people that are ordering Juice Plus and that are on your team. Like, that's a huge impact. That's a huge difference, if nothing else. What about the influence at that point you would have in somebody's life of helping them step into a place of creating income for their family and building stability? Instead of looking at the responsibilities that you may think comes with that, what if you're really looking at the impact that comes with that? The positive side of those things, and then start leaning towards that. Start deciding, okay, I'm going to venture out in the water because I do want that sort of impact. I do want to have that stable income. I do want to have that insurance package. And looking at the impact versus the obstacles that you may perceive that who knows that NMDs are even doing that, right? Like, who knows that they have this huge responsibility? You've grown into that place. By the time you get there, you're ready for it. And just be careful that you don't sabotage yourself thinking it's going to be something that it's not, or that you're not something that you are. You are. And it's sometimes just a matter of finding other people, numbers of people to come alongside you, and you guys move there together. Are you being a teacher? Are you being a learner yourself? Are you being a teacher that takes what you learn and then put it into action? Take what you guys learn on these calls. Somebody asked me the other day, I hope you don't mind, but I do a team call on Monday nights, and I often just take what you say on Monday mornings and then I teach them. Yes, that's what I'm begging you guys to do. I want to empower you with leadership mindset that you can then take to your team, even if you just leave a Voxer message. What stands out to you? Start taking the information you're learning and then teach that to other people. That's what leadership is as you're guiding them. So I'm just so thankful for all of you guys on here with me each week. I hope that you are finding this information empowering and helpful. I don't want it to go too long, so I'm going to stop the recording.